You know, I saw something that was saying every dot you have on your left arm, especially on males, is how many times you've been reincarnated.
Could be. I've heard it the other way. I've heard the birthmark is a death mark. That's how you died. Something happened to you where that's basically like a not a wound, but like a damn it, you got stabbed, shot, whatever. I've heard it that way too.
That's crazy.
I've heard it that way too.
You see, another thing I've also heard, and this is something kind of we could have tied into the other episode. My dad always told me that if for some reason you get the chills, somebody step where you're gonna die.
Yeah.
That they're stepping on your soul. Where you lose. So basically, where you die and you lose your soul, somebody stepped on.
Never heard that.
That was something my dad told me. Pretty crazy, but that just shows you, like, dude, we don't know a whole lot about life from death. We know it happens.
Yeah.
You know, because we can see it.
Yeah.
We're you and I think are the type. If we see it, we believe it.
Yeah.
So we see a baby born. Hey, that's birth.
Yeah. But even animals know how precious life is, because they will run their asses off to get away from a predator.
Oh yeah.
So it's not something like, that only we're specific to it.
Right. Or when, prime example, dude, I saw that movie Dog with Channing Tatum and that dog.
Yep.
And I know you've seen videos. Military guys that were dog handlers, bro. When they pass away or they're gone, they usually have their dog there.
Yeah.
That they handle. And that dog will go crazy. That dog will go crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Until he gets near that person.
Yeah.
And then they lay down and then they whine.
Yeah. They what do they call it? They grieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like you said with animals, they know.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, dude. That's one thing that always just like, man, animals know.
They do.
When prime example, when my wife goes out of town, her little dogs, oh man, they don't want to eat.
They mope.
They don't want to drink, and then they get sick.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. That's definitely a topic that can definitely have more light shined on it.
Oh man, we
can talk about that forever.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and talk about our social media right now, and then we can get on another subject that's kind of really juicy.
All right.
So we're on pretty much any major platform that's out there: Apple, YouTube, Spotify, stuff like that. Any place that has a podcast, we're pretty much there now. I think we got it dialed in to where if you want to find us and follow us, you can.
Yep.
And I really hope y'all do, because I think we talk about some pretty good stuff. And it's not so much we're trying to sway y'all one way or another. It's just two guys talking and just trying to see what we can go from there. But we're on Twitter, Wayward_Sons TX, and Instagram, Wayward Sons TX podcast.
Yep.
That's where we're at. But let's go ahead and dive into this next subject, man. Project Blue Book.
All right.
Okay. I'll let you take the reins on that one, man.
So, I didn't know much about Project Blue Book until I discovered it on Prime. I was trying to find something to look at, and I was like, man, what's this about? I thought it was just going to be another X-Files.
Right.
No. I was way off, man. So, Project Blue Book is basically in the 50s, the Air Force hired a scientist named Alan Hynek. I don't remember what kind of scientist he was, man.
I think he was a teacher.
Or a teacher?
Yeah, he was a teacher at a university.
Yeah.
And then this assignment was like extracurricular.
Well, he was brought in like as a consultant, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, anyways, they brought him in as a consultant to look at paranormal activity. Not like alien sightings, but just weird stuff, and then flying objects.
Right.
So I think he's the one that coined UFO. unidentified flying object. I think he's the one that coined it because it didn't have a name.
Right.
So he was working under the Air Force, and he was basically hired to, anytime there was a reporting or a sighting, you know, he was supposed to go where the sighting was, talk to the people, get informed, and then make an informed decision to say, no, what you saw is not what you saw. This is what you saw. It was swamp gas. It was an electrical storm.
An owl.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Man, that's been around since the 50s, and I think Roswell was in the 40s, right? Late 40s?
Yeah.
48? Somewhere around there?
Right. I think that happened right before this was launched, but it was called something else though.
Yeah. It had another name before Blue Book.
Right.
But so this series, I think it's 3 seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 seasons. Now, some of it is factual. I think, if I remember right, Alan Hynek went on to consult on that movie that Steven Spielberg made about the aliens. The spaceship, they're up in the mountains. I think it was Devil's Tower.
No, not Devil's Tower. It was the Third of the Mankind, or what was that?
Man.
Yeah, let me look it up real quick.
Encounters of the Third Kind?
Yeah, Encounters of the Third Kind, or something like that.
So anyways, Alan Hynek went on to consult Steven Spielberg with his knowledge of Blue Book, how to do that movie.
Right.
So this guy really saw some stuff, man. He really did encounter a lot of these sightings himself, which he had to go back and write.
Right.
And explain to people. And it may even be unclassified. It may be already unclassified, man. You just have to go to that 3-letter agency and look it up. And even the 3-letter agency was involved in Area 52.
Was it 52?
I'm sorry, 51, man. Damn, my brain's all over the place. So
the cool thing about that show,
yeah,
it opened up a lot of doors for a lot of things.
It opened up my mind, man.
So it brought up the MK Ultra project.
Yep.
It brought up the Majestic 12.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we talked about that.
Yep.
So basically, anytime the Majestic 12 was brought in by a 3-letter agency to make sure that anything involving any kind of extraterrestrial
Mm-hmm.
was in a controlled environment and it was taken care of.
Yep.
Now, it didn't work in conjunction with Project Blue Book. And it's funny how these agencies know all, see all, but don't say a damn thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you figured, hey man, it's just like anything else. You're working together, right? You figured you're working together. But not a one of them fucking talk to each other, bro.
No, they don't. They don't.
They don't say a damn word. But what I'm getting at with this Majestic 12 thing, so there was a bunch of guys that got together, and there's a book, there was like a pamphlet, like a user's manual.
Yeah.
That said, if you see this, take this piece over here.
Right.
If you happen to encounter a live being, do this, take it over here.
Yep.
And there's actual footage
Yep.
and stuff on that. There's an actual pamphlet, like a book. But they never told the guys from Blue Book.
Yeah.
You know, the guys from Blue Book were just strictly to, like you said, tell people that, no, you didn't see that.
Debunking.
Yeah, debunking.
Yep.
That was the earliest form of debunking
Right.
that, you know, us as humans have seen or have witnessed.
Yep.
But the one thing about it was the Encounters of the Third Kind.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the movie that guy, that Alan Hynek guy, ended up coming out and saying, or creating, or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, that stuff there, man, it showed a lot of different aspects of what our world could be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not so much like, I wouldn't say that there are extraterrestrials out there, because I believe there is.
Yep.
But just how it's covered up.
Yep.
How they've gone to great lengths to cover all this stuff up.
Yep.
But why though? Why do they cover it up? What's the reasoning behind
I
it?
don't know, man. That also brought up the Men in Black.
Yeah.
Supposedly that don't exist. but they do exist unofficially.
Right.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to, because somebody's got to keep tabs on those guys. The Men in Black have to keep tabs on somebody.
Yeah.
They
But it's funny because on that show, those guys always showed up.
Yeah.
After any time.
Yep.
And then they were on that Heineck dude's butt.
Yep.
They were on him.
Yep. Yep. Well, and then, okay, so the space race.
Yeah.
So apparently the Germans
Mm-hmm.
had some sort of technology that was years and years ahead of
Yeah.
anything that any country had.
Yeah. It was
Flight-wise.
The anti-gravity.
Yes.
Yes.
So supposedly that's why there was a race to Antarctica, which
Was it
we're not
Antarctica?
allowed to go to. Yeah.
I thought it was the moon.
No, Well, and even in Blue Book, remember they tried to make it to Antarctica because the Germans were there. The Germans were in Antarctica, and they were trying to figure out what they were doing. Well, then, I think they captured some Germans,
Mm-hmm.
and the Germans told them where they were headed to. And eventually, I guess they said why they were headed to Antarctica, but they had some sort of base over there. So, in all the UFO forums and paranormal and all that, they've always said that the Germans did have some sort of technology that was way ahead of its time.
Right.
So, Blue Book did hit on that. I don't know how factual it is, but they did hit on Antarctica. They didn't really go in depth.
Right.
But I've even seen it on Ancient Aliens. I've seen it in documentaries. That the Germans were really up to something
Yeah.
with that
But
technology.
you know, it's crazy how not only in the extraterrestrial type stuff,
Yeah.
but Germany was always tend to be ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
back then.
Technological. Yes.
They were always technologically advanced.
Yep.
They were always before everybody. They
Yep.
were always, and then all of a sudden, poof.
Well, and then what happened after World War II? The U.S. blew up on that. And then they said not totally off subject, but
Yeah.
they say the Nazis didn't get defeated. They just moved to the U.S., who they put in charge of our space program. There's a
Von
Nazi.
Braun.
He was a Nazi.
Him and those 15 signs.
Yeah, and they'll argue that they were forced to do it, but
Well, see, that was the thing. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. So I know we don't want to get off this too much,
yeah,
but what was the big deal? Who could get a rocket up
yeah,
faster than anybody?
yep,
And when those guys in Germany and that Von Braun guy
mm-hmm,
got the first one up so far,
yep,
the U.S. went and told him, hey, bud,
come and work for us.
because I think they were running low on funds.
Well, yeah, it was at the end of the world. I mean, at the end of the end of the war. Yeah.
You know, so they were like, hey, bud,
Yep.
come on over here.
Well, I think it was that or be tried for war crimes
Oh, okay.
because they were on the losing end.
Yeah.
They're on the losing team.
Okay.
So,
I think, and then they came over and they got the rocket,
and then all of a sudden our technology just,
took off.
yeah, and we made it to the moon.
Yeah. We took it to the moon.
You know, in quotation marks.
To the moon.
So, yeah, man, Blue Book did hit on that,
Yeah.
you know, and it was top secret, not because they were trying to make it to the moon, but because of the technology they had,
Yeah.
you know. And in Blue Book, I think it was in Lubbock, man. They had Lubbock.
Oh, yeah, the Lubbock sighting.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the lights.
yeah.
Yep.
You know, and who's to know? Were they really UFOs, or was that the military trying out some of that badass German technology?
Yeah. Who knows? But you always see everywhere lights.
Yeah.
Prime example. One night I was sitting there. I was leaving the job site.
Yep.
And I just happened, you know me, I'm always looking at the sky.
Yep.
And I seen a bunch of light. They look like stars. And they were moving. But the way they were moving was weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a airplane.
Yeah.
And these lights they would spread out. They would move, and then next thing you know, they would stop, and then they would get in line, like a single file line.
Yeah.
It was weird. So anyways, I just happened to stop, and I called the guy that relieved me. And I said, hey man, you see my truck? He's like, yeah.
I said, I'm gonna turn off my lights. I said,